What are the things you do in your life to relieve some stress, have some fun, and support your brain? Today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of having a hobby. If you don't have one, or have one and haven't been enjoying it, perhaps this message is for you. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Welcome to my podcast, Giving You a Fresh Start After Trauma. I'm Regina Sanchez, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Starting over after trauma can be a blend of real pain and some hope, sadness and then some joy. It's a mixture of moments of faith and then moments of fear. There will be times when you'd rather not remember, but then times of excitement. You may fail along the way, but if you keep moving forward, your discouragement will turn to peace. Some days you may feel like giving up, and other days you're running in your race to victory. That, my friend, is a journey of having a fresh start after trauma. And if you are in any of these places and need some encouragement, you have stopped at the right place. Let's journey together to giving you a fresh start after trauma. Join me now to be revived, rejuvenated, and restored to a place of living free from your past emotional pain. Welcome, friends, to my podcast, Giving You a Fresh Start. Regina Sanchez here, your spiritual life and health coach. As always, I'm so glad you're here. But before we get started, as you're listening to this message and you think of someone who could benefit from hearing it, please pass it along. I would appreciate it, and I'm sure they would as well. Also, I just found out that there has been a disconnect on my website, that when people try to connect with me through it, they're not getting through. Thank God for one person who didn't give up and finally just reached out through my email. I was not getting her messages. Not sure how long that's been going on, but it's in the process of being fixed. So if you have tried to reach out to me and I have not responded, please forgive me. Okay, let's get started. So today I want to discuss with you the importance of having a hobby. It's so sad to me to know that many people have been harmed from traumatic experiences and they're not healed. Currently, I mentor two beautiful young moms. It seems that the traumatic events that happened to them as a child are manifesting themselves now. The beautiful thing is they both love the Lord, they're following the Lord, and He is doing some wonderful things in their life to bring healing. He is very faithful. So now you might ask me, okay, Regina, what does hobbies have to do with healing from trauma? Well, if you have not read a prior blog or podcast on how quilting showed me that, in fact, I had been healed of a specific issue in my life, you will find the link either in the body of this message if you're reading it, or below in the podcast. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have experienced trauma in your life to now pick up a hobby, because hobbies are great for all people. But hobbies have helped me tremendously with issues in my life. So why are hobbies great for all people? Well, because they give us so much more to our life. So here's a few reasons that I want you to consider having a hobby. Number one, hobbies help you let go of stress. If you're feeling anxious or stressed, picking up your hobby of choice can help you shift your brain from the roller coaster ride of ruminating your issue and bringing your thoughts in another direction. Your hands are doing something, so your brain is thinking of the next step that you need to take in your craft. Number two, it gives you an opportunity to play. You know, as an adult, this was very hard for me. Because of my childhood trauma, I had to mature faster than was healthy. I was not allowed to enjoy being childlike as one should. I was always anxious, and I couldn't wait to become an adult because as a child was not enjoyable. It was difficult more times than not. Believe me, I did not, every day of my life was not horrible or trying, but there were enough days that were very trying and difficult that made my overall life full of stress and anxiety and hard to enjoy. I believed that the sooner I became an adult, the sooner I would have control of my life. And then that was a surprise when I became an adult. We all need downtime or playtime. Life cannot be all work and no play. Even if you go back to the 17 or 1800s when life was full of work, my favorite show in the world, well, one of my favorite shows in the world is Little House on the Prairie. And even back in those days when they worked, they had to grow their food, and everything they needed in life was something they had to create for the most part. So they spent a great deal of their day working, but they still understood they needed downtime or they needed playtime. So consider picking up a hobby to have that opportunity to bring some play into your life. Number 3, it activates your creative juices and helps you to experiment. I believe we all have levels of creativity in us. And if we don't express it, there can be a level of frustration in ourselves. Is your career or your life so overwhelming that you only get to use the left side of your brain, right? You're at your job and your left side of your brain is just going and going. Or life is just so difficult that the left side of your brain is trying to figure it all out, how to stop the traumas going on or the difficult situations in your life. Well, adopting a hobby into your life will help perhaps express the right side of your brain and get your creative juices in operation. This could also help your career. Step number 4, it gives you an opportunity for self-expression. Once again, when we create, we get to release that self-expression in ourselves, and we all have it. We just may not have tapped into it yet. I belong to a quilters guild, and each month we have show and tell, and it's so fun because it is amazing to me to see the creativity of these women that God has gifted them with. I'm sure there is creativity in you. Number 5, it allows you the opportunity to make mistakes and be okay with them. This is a big one for me because you see, I grew up, and many of you may have heard my story, I grew up believing I was stupid. And if I tackled a project and made a mistake, it only confirmed my stupidity. I allowed in my life no leeway for learning because, frankly, in the process of learning, you will make mistakes. Well, quilting helped me to be okay with my mistakes. When I make one, I just take a deep breath, I take it apart, and I fix it. There was one night a few months ago that I was working on a project, and I made a mistake in the same area 4 times. 3 times I took it apart and had to fix it. Finally, the 4th time I put it back together, it was right. Well, instead of getting frustrated, I literally laughed at myself. And when I laughed at myself, I realized, wow, I've been healed. Sometimes that's how healing comes to me. I don't necessarily feel the healing at the time. God may bring that healing to me. But it's usually when I'm doing something that I get that revelation with, wow, that doesn't bother me anymore. I didn't get frustrated. I didn't get angry. I didn't throw the quilt piece down and say, I'm done with this. I'm not quilting anymore. You're too stupid. I didn't do any of that. I laughed at myself like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're taking this apart again. I laughed at myself. I fixed it. And I had the revelation that God had healed that part in me. Number 6, it stretches your brain to learn. Studies show how important it is to use our brains, especially as we age. In my vocabulary, the word retirement is not even a thing I think about. Even if one day I stop my coaching or my writing or teaching, I will replace it with something else because I don't want to be like my parents who worked hard all their life and retired to only sit in front of the TV most of the time. They didn't have hobbies. They didn't have things they could do. We must stretch our brains. So do you have a hobby? Well, if not, maybe this list will spark some juices in you to start one. What about quilting or sewing or scrapbooking or card making and stamping? How about jewelry making or photography? If you're a man or a woman, how about some woodworking? Building doll houses, gardening, knitting, crocheting, cooking, baking, dancing, painting. You could learn how to play an instrument. You could write or learn a new language. Do some bird watching if you love the outdoors. Do some candle making. Or how about learning calligraphy or drawing or hiking or reading? Those are just some of the hobbies you could think about. How about you? Did any of these hobbies above spark an interest and perhaps cause you to want to begin something? If you don't have a hobby, I hope you decide to move forward with one. Don't allow your career or your issues in your life to hold you back from releasing the creativity God has placed inside of you. Don't waste that gift. And I see it so many times with my clients that find it difficult to do that kind of paradigm shift in their life, to take on something new, learn something different, because their life is so overwhelmed with their issues. If that's the case, you've got to heal those issues. You've got to declutter your brain truly of those things that have you bound. Don't live your life any longer like that. Don't allow the trauma or the difficult issues in your life to pull you down and cause you to just retreat. And if you need some love, support, and guidance, please reach out to me. You'll find a link below to do that. And I'd love to spend some time chatting with you. There is no cost to our chat. Always, friends, know that I am here for you. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this message. And again, if you know anyone that could really benefit from hearing this, please pass it along. And if you enjoyed the message, I would really appreciate if you would like it, and even more so, leave a comment. So friends, be blessed, be encouraged, know that I love you, know that God loves you, and that life could be freer, especially if you decide to do a hobby. God bless. Thanks for listening. Thank you, my friends, for taking the time to listen to my podcast. I hope you found it uplifting and encouraging, and that it guides you to having peace, love, joy, and health in your life. If you would like more information on my coaching programs, then go to my website, reginasanchez.com, where you can see the services I offer to give you a fresh start after trauma. You can also find my book, Can I Have Your Heart, Daddy, on Amazon. It is my personal journey back to the heart of my Heavenly Father. Be blessed, be encouraged, and know that you are loved.